You probably hear the beautiful sound of construction to the back. You hear that sound? Oh, that's music to my ears. I love that sound. Other people don't like it. I love it, Josh. I think when I hear that sound, it reminds me of money.
In Washington, D.C., where every brick of the White House tells a story, a massive chapter has just been erased. The East Wing, once home to generations of First Ladies and a symbol of America's softer political power, is gone. Demolished to make way for what President Donald Trump calls a monument to the country's greatness, a sprawling golden ballroom that he says will redefine presidential hospitality.
Most excitingly, on the other side, you see the fence and the wall. We're building a world-class ballroom. You know, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom here. We don't have a ballroom. We have a little cocktail area, but we don't have a ballroom.
The decision has ignited outrage and disbelief across the political spectrum. The demolition, which began abruptly last week, reduced an entire wing of the historic mansion to rubble. Amid the dust, the outcry has grown louder, with historians, preservationists and former staffers calling it one of the most drastic and controversial alterations to the People's House in modern history.
Even in his last administration, President Trump and the offices of the White House followed the relevant procedures, sending plans out for much more modest improvements to the agencies that Congress required them to consult with. We don't see that happening here, and I do think in the second Trump term, you are seeing a much more wanton disregard for laws and policies that are in place, in addition to the norms that presidents for several centuries have upheld.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended the president's move.
In addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly. And so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority.
But experts disagree. Author Kate Anderson Brower, who has written extensively about life inside the White House, pointed out that while presidents have renovated rooms and redecorated halls, this is the first time in history an entire wing has been torn down. Brower said,
"We have never seen a wrecking ball taken to an entire wing."
She added that the East Wing, though often overshadowed by the power and politics of the West Wing, held deep cultural and historical value, especially as the First Lady's domain.
It's the only place she has to really call her own.
Brower noted.
The White House is a living building. It has grown and changed over time. That includes entirely new parts of it, entirely new wings, as well as smaller scale recreational facilities like tennis courts and bowling alleys.
The East Wing has a long and storied past. Originally built in 1902 during Theodore Roosevelt's presidency as a carriage entrance, it evolved under Franklin D. Roosevelt in the 1940s to hide an underground emergency bunker. A bunker that would later protect leaders during some of America's darkest days.
I think it's going to end up looking gaudy. I think this is about him trying to put his gold embossed Trump stamp on the building itself so that no matter what happens from here, like there's always just a remnant of his legacy, regime, whatever we want to call it. So I think it's unfortunate.
That underground facility, officially known as the Presidential Emergency Operations Center, was where Vice President Dick Cheney sheltered during the September 11th attacks and where President Donald Trump himself was taken during protests in his first term. The East Wing wasn't just ceremonial, it was strategic, historic and symbolic. Over the decades, it became the seat of social diplomacy, a place of celebration, tradition and reflection. It's where President William Howard Taft celebrated his silver wedding anniversary in 1911, where Dwight Eisenhower screened High Noon, John F. Kennedy watched From Russia with Love, and Bill Clinton hosted Super Bowl nights for staff and friends. It's also where a White House photographer captured a now iconic image, President Barack Obama playfully running down the hall with his dog Bo. A simple human moment now reduced to memory and archives. Outside its walls, the East Wing Garden once bloomed under the care of Jackie Kennedy, designed with the help of Chinese-American architect I.M. Pei, the same man who would later create the glass pyramid at the Louvre in Paris. The garden hosted weddings, receptions, and quiet moments, a tranquil counterpart to the political storms of Washington. For generations, the East Wing also served as the ceremonial entrance for guests during Christmas and state functions. It was the space where portraits of First Ladies lined the walls, a tribute to women who shaped the presidency from behind the scenes. Even Melania Trump's red Christmas trees, which once sparked online debate, became part of that East Wing legacy. Brower reflected, "If you were going to a Christmas party, that's where you would enter." It was a beautiful space, gorgeous portraits lining the walls of First Ladies over the years. But the president was never fond of the East Wing. He dismissed it as a very small building that was never thought of as being much. In private conversations, Trump reportedly called the structure dead space, insisting that the new ballroom would better showcase America's power and prosperity. The White House communications team says the new ballroom will be able to host up to 1,000 guests, complete with gold leaf detailing, crystal chandeliers, and murals inspired by Trump's vision of American greatness. Officials insist that private donors will cover all construction costs, though skeptics have questioned transparency and oversight. Critics say this isn't just about architecture, it's about symbolism. The East Wing represented community, ceremony, and inclusion. In contrast, the new ballroom represents Trump's taste for spectacle and self-branding, a grand, glittering monument to his presidency, built on the ruins of a space that once belonged to the First Ladies. Brower warned,
We've lost something that money can't rebuild, a sense of quiet dignity and continuity. The East Wing was history, not just decoration.
Inside Trump's circle, however, there's little remorse. Advisors have reportedly joked that the new ballroom will finally give the White House the kind of venue it deserves. A space large enough for state dinners, political rallies, and gala fundraisers all under one golden ceiling. Trump even had his own portrait, draped in the American flag pattern, hung between the portraits of Laura Bush and Hillary Clinton before the demolition began. That decision, many critics say, perfectly captured his approach to the presidency: bold, unapologetic, and deeply polarizing. While the White House claims historic artifacts were safely preserved, preservationists argue that what's truly lost is intangible: the atmosphere, the intimacy, the countless stories woven into the East Wing's walls.